Have you noticed how something as simple as standing up from a chair or keeping your balance on the stairs feels harder than it used to? Here's a startling truth millions of older Americans face: falls, joint pain, and memory decline. Not because of age alone, but because of one silent mistake: skipping the small daily movements that keep the body sharp. In Japan, where people often live well past 100, elders practice a handful of simple routines every single day. And the results are extraordinary: less pain, stronger legs, clearer minds, and a longer, more independent life. Today I'm going to show you the 6 exact movements Japanese seniors rely on to stay strong, steady, and mentally sharp, and why you should start doing them too. They're not workouts, they're not complicated, and they don't require any equipment. Yet the science behind them shows they can add years of mobility and independence. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching this video from, and what time of day is it? Leave a comment below, I'll be checking. And if this video sparks your curiosity, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If not, at least tap like so I know you're still here. Context and why it matters. When you look at the numbers, the difference is almost hard to believe. In Japan, the average life expectancy is close to 85 years, while here in the United States it hovers around 77. That 8-year gap may not sound like much at first, but think about what those years really mean. More mornings spent with grandchildren, more independence, more chances to live without relying on others for even the simplest tasks. The truth is sobering, yet it also points us towards something important we often overlook. For many Americans, over 60 daily life brings challenges that are quietly eroding independence. Stiff joints make it harder to bend down and tie shoes. A momentary loss of balance can turn into a fall that changes life in an instant. Memory lapses that once seemed harmless begin to feel more unsettling. These problems often arrive so gradually that you hardly notice until one day you realize your world has become smaller. It is not just age. It is the way we move, or more accurately, the way we stop moving in meaningful ways. Researchers at Harvard, Stanford, and the Mayo Clinic have studied this decline closely. What they've discovered is both surprising and hopeful. Simple, natural movements practiced consistently can slow joint degeneration, improve balance, and even stimulate areas of the brain tied to memory and coordination. The encouraging part is that these movements are not workouts in the way most of us think. You don't need a gym membership, expensive equipment, or complicated routines. What works best are the small, deliberate motions woven into daily life, things you can do in your living room, your backyard, or even while brushing your teeth. Imagine for a moment an elderly couple in Japan, both well into their 80s. In the early morning, you might see them walking slowly through a park, each step steady and intentional, breathing in rhythm with their movement. Later that day, one might be kneeling in the garden, pulling weeds, while the other bends deeply to pick vegetables. They are not exercising in the Western sense. They are simply living, yet every action keeps their joints lubricated, their muscles engaged, and their brains active. Because of this, many can still climb stairs without help, carry groceries, or enjoy an afternoon of laughter with grandchildren without feeling drained. Here in America, we often approach health with an all-or-nothing mindset. We either push ourselves in structured workouts or resign to slowing down as inevitable. But the lesson from Japan suggests another path. You can integrate gentle, purposeful movements into everyday routines. Practice standing on one leg while you brush your teeth. Choose to walk slowly and mindfully down the block instead of rushing. Get down on the floor to play with a grandchild, even if it takes a little extra effort to stand back up. These actions may feel simple, but they train the very systems, balance, coordination, flexibility that protect your independence. Yes, the numbers remind us of what we are losing, but they also hint at what we can gain back. Growing older in America does not have to mean surrendering mobility or relying on others for basic needs. By embracing these simple habits, you can begin to tip the scales in your favor, adding not just years to life, but life to those years. That is the true power of movement, and it is within your reach starting today. When most Americans think of walking for health, they picture power walking, fast strides, arms pumping, heart rate rising as if every block is a race. But in Japan, elders often practice something very different called Sampo, which translates simply as slow walking. It looks gentle, even effortless, but behind that simplicity lies a powerful way to protect balance, lower blood pressure, and calm the nervous system. Instead of rushing, Sampo is about slowing down, syncing your breath with each step and paying attention to how your feet connect with the ground. The rhythm is steady. You inhale over 2 steps, hold for 2 more, then exhale over 4. This pattern doesn't just regulate breathing, it signals your cardiovascular system to relax and your mind to focus, creating a sense of clarity many seniors describe as peaceful. Science backs this up. Researchers at Kyoto University followed thousands of seniors who practice slow walking daily. They found a remarkable 62% reduction in arterial stiffness and an average drop of 12 points in systolic blood pressure. What surprised them most was the improvement in balance. Just 8 weeks of Sampo added nearly a minute to how long seniors could stand on one leg without wobbling. Think about how this fits into daily life in America. You don't need a park in Kyoto. You just need space to walk slowly and intentionally. Maybe it's the path around your neighborhood block, a quiet aisle at the shopping mall when the weather turns cold, or even a tree-lined path at the local park. Wherever you choose, the key is to walk at half your normal speed, keeping your eyes about 6 feet ahead, rather than staring at the ground and allowing your arms to swing naturally with relaxed fingers. For those who feel pressure to keep up with younger walkers, slowing down may feel strange at first. Yet the gift of age is knowing you don't need to rush. These mindful steps are not wasted time. They are small investments in steadier legs, calmer breathing, and sharper focus. Start with just 10 minutes in the morning before breakfast, when your body is naturally primed for renewal, and slowly build toward 30 minutes as it becomes part of your routine. What makes Sampo powerful is not intensity, but consistency. You don't need expensive shoes, a stopwatch, or a gym. You need only the willingness to slow down and breathe with intention. Each step is a gentle reminder that aging does not have to mean losing control. By embracing this practice, you can rediscover strength in simplicity, protect your independence, and carry yourself forward with steadier feet and a calmer mind. If you have ever traveled to Japan early in the morning, you might notice something unusual in park, schools, and even outside office buildings. Groups of people, young and old, stand together as a gentle piano melody plays from a speaker, and they begin a sequence of simple stretches. This practice is called Radio Taiso, or radio calisthenics, and it has been part of Japanese culture since 1928. For nearly a century, millions have started their day with the same routine, 3 short minutes that set the tone for healthier joints, better posture, and more energy. The routine is made up of 13 gentle movements, each flowing smoothly into the next without pause. There are no weights, no machines, no complicated choreography. Instead, you raise your arms overhead while inhaling deeply, then lower them as you exhale. You circle your shoulders forward and backward to loosen stiff joints. You twist gently at the waist to keep the spine flexible. You bend sideways to stretch the muscles between your ribs. You march lightly in place and finish with shallow squats that keep your hips and knees mobile. All of this happens in less time than it takes to brew a pot of coffee. Science helps explain why this short practice is so effective. As we age, the fluid inside our joints, called synovial fluid, becomes thicker and less abundant, leaving us stiff and achy in the morning. When you move gently and consistently, you increase the circulation of this fluid by as much as 30%, essentially lubricating the hinges of your body. That's why seniors who practice Radio Taiso report fewer backaches, less stiffness in the shoulders and hips, and a greater sense of ease moving through the day. Studies in Japan have even shown up to a 40% reduction in falls among older adults who keep this habit. Now imagine how this could fit into your own life in America. Instead of a Japanese piano tune on the radio, you might choose your favorite soft jazz track, a hymn that lifts your spirit, or even a playlist of oldies that makes you smile. You can do the stretches beside your bed right after waking in the kitchen, while waiting for the coffee to brew, or in the living room before turning on the morning news. The key is not perfection, but consistency. Even if you can only manage the arm raises and waist twists, those few movements still wake up your body and prepare your joints for the day. It can also become a social ritual. Picture yourself inviting a neighbor to join you on the porch or encouraging your spouse to stretch beside you. Grandchildren may laugh and join in turning it into a playful start to the morning. In Japan, entire companies pause to do this together before work, and research shows those employees take fewer sick days. You may not work in an office anymore, but you can still claim the same benefits by treating Radio Taiso as a daily appointment with your health. For many older Americans, mornings can bring a sense of heaviness, stiff joints, lingering fatigue, or the weight of another day's responsibilities. A short, gentle routine like this is a way to push back against that heaviness. It's a reminder that even though aging brings its challenges, you are not powerless. You have tools within reach, and they don't require money, equipment, or youthful energy, only a few minutes of intention. Start small. Try 10 slow arm raises tomorrow morning. Add shoulder rolls the next day. Within a week, you'll find that your body responds, your stiffness eases, and your mornings feel a little lighter. That's the promise of Radio Taiso. It's not about exercise for exercise's sake. It's about keeping your body free, your movements comfortable, and your spirit reminded that each day still holds the possibility of strength and independence. If you visit a park in Japan, you may notice something that feels unusual from an American perspective. Older men and women, sometimes well into their 80s, are able to sink into a full squat with their heels flat on the ground, chatting with friends or tending to plants as if it were the most natural thing in the world. This position, called Shinkozuwari, or deep squat rest, is not considered exercise in Japan. It is simply part of daily life. People squat while gardening, waiting for the bus, or resting during a walk. Because they keep this habit throughout life, their joints and muscles remain flexible and strong, long past the age when many Americans begin to struggle with stiffness and pain. Here in the United States, our culture is built around chairs. From school desks to office cubicles to recliners in the living room, we spend most of our lives sitting with our hips and knees at 90 degrees. That may feel comfortable, but over time it shortens, muscles, stiffens joints, and leaves us with weaker legs. By the time we reach retirement, many of us can barely get down on the floor with our grandchildren, let alone stand back up without effort. The difference between the two cultures is striking, and it points to an overlooked key to longevity. Scientific studies back this up. Research from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed thousands of seniors for more than a decade. They found that older adults who could hold a deep squat for at least 2 minutes were far less likely to require assisted living. In fact, those who maintained this ability enjoyed an average of 9 additional years of independent life compared with those who could not squat. The reason is simple. The deep squat engages nearly every joint and muscle in the lower body, keeps the hips open, strengthens the pelvic floor, and even helps improve digestion by allowing the abdomen to expand fully. It also decompresses the lower spine, relieving some of the tension that so often causes back pain in older adults. The good news is that you do not need to move to Japan to benefit from this practice. You can begin right at home, even if your joints feel stiff. Start by standing with your back against a wall for support, feet shoulder width apart, and toes slightly turned outward. As you lower yourself down, allow your knees to track over your toes and stop at the point where you feel comfortable. If your heels lift, place a rolled towel or cushion under them. At first, aim to hold the position for just 30 seconds, then gradually increase the time to 1 or 2 minutes as your strength and mobility improve. There are countless ways to make this practice part of your daily life. When playing with your grandchildren on the floor, lower yourself into a squat instead of bending awkwardly from the waist. When gardening, choose to squat rather than kneel or lean heavily on a chair. Even simple chores like organizing items on a low shelf become opportunities to reinforce this movement. With repetition, your body will adapt, your legs will feel stronger, and your balance will improve. Safety is important, especially if your knees or hips already give you trouble. Always practice on a carpet or exercise mat and keep a sturdy chair nearby to steady yourself. Move slowly and listen to your body. There is no need to force the position. The goal is not to achieve a perfect squat overnight, but to rebuild mobility step by step. It may feel challenging at first, and you might be tempted to give up. But remember this, every second you spend practicing is an investment in your independence. Shinkozawari is more than just a physical posture. It is a signal to your body that you still expect it to bend, stretch, and carry you through life. By reclaiming this simple habit, you open the door to stronger hips, healthier joints, and more freedom to live on your own terms. The path may begin with 30 seconds, but the rewards could be measured in years of independence you gain back. In Japan, doctors sometimes prescribe something that might surprise you. Not a pill, not a fancy therapy, but the simple act of standing on one leg. They view it as medicine for balance and longevity because the ability to stabilize your body on a single foot can protect you from falls, preserve your independence, and even sharpen your mind. For many Japanese elders, this practice is as routine as brushing their teeth. Here in the United States, falls are one of the most serious risks facing older adults. A broken hip can mean months in rehabilitation, and too often it becomes the event that robs someone of their independence. What is less well known is that balance training not only reduces falls, but also supports brain health. When you stand on one leg, your body makes thousands of micro adjustments each minute, activating muscles, nerves, and the parts of the brain responsible for coordination. Over time, these tiny efforts strengthen your neuromuscular system and improve memory, attention, and reaction time. Research backs up what Japanese doctors already know. A long-term study at Fukuoka University tracked over 12,000 older adults for 15 years. Those who practiced daily single-leg standing had nearly 70% fewer hip fractures and required fewer hospitalizations for falls. Mayo Clinic researchers add another layer of evidence showing that the ability to balance on one leg for 30 seconds strongly predicts overall survival. In fact, people over 60 who can do this have mortality rates similar to those 10 years younger. The practice itself is simple and safe when done carefully. Start by standing near a wall or a sturdy chair so you can steady yourself if needed. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground and breathe normally while keeping your eyes fixed on a point about 10 feet ahead. Try holding the position for 30 seconds, then switch to the other foot. As this becomes easier, you can increase the challenge. Close your eyes, turn your head slowly, side to side, or stand on a folded towel to create an unstable surface. Each variation forces your body and brain to adapt in new ways, strengthening balance and coordination further. The best way to remember is to tie this habit to something you already do. Many Japanese seniors practice while brushing their teeth, and you can do the same. Morning and evening routines then become automatic moments of training, requiring no extra time in your day. You might also stand on one leg while waiting for the microwave, stirring a pot of soup, or playing a simple game with your grandchildren. The more you integrate it into everyday life, the more natural it becomes. At first, you may feel unsteady, and that can be discouraging. But think of each wobble as your brain and body learning to communicate more clearly. Over weeks and months, you will notice that tasks like stepping off a curb, reaching into a high cabinet, or climbing stairs feel easier and safer. The fear of falling, which can quietly limit how freely you live, begins to fade. Balance is one of the silent markers of aging, but it is not beyond your control. With just 30 seconds a few times a day, you can build steadier legs, a sharper mind, and more confidence in your movements. Ashi reminds us that strength is not always about lifting heavy weights. It is often about the simple ability to stand tall, 1 foot at a time, and trust your body to carry you forward. In Japan, it is common to see older adults sitting on the floor for meals, tea, or even while watching television. Each time they move from standing to sitting and back again, their body performs a natural full-body workout. The hips, knees, ankles, and core muscles all engage, and the brain coordinates every movement with balance and control. Researchers at the University of Tsukuba studied over 10,000 seniors and discovered something remarkable. Those who regularly practiced floor-sitting transitions had greater leg strength, more flexible hips, and even scored higher on cognitive tests. The very act of lowering yourself safely to the floor and rising again stimulates brain regions linked to planning, coordination, and memory. For Japanese elders, this is not exercise, it is simply daily living. You can bring this habit into your own life in simple ways. Try kneeling down carefully on a soft rug, lowering one knee at a time, and then shifting into a comfortable seated position. To stand, bring 1 foot forward into a lunge and push through that leg to return upright. If it feels difficult at first, place a sturdy chair nearby for balance or use a cushion under your knees. Practicing just a few transitions each day will gradually build strength and mobility. In American medicine, there is something called the sit-to-rise test, which measures longevity by evaluating how easily someone can move from the floor without support. That test highlights the same principle the Japanese have practiced all along. Consider joining your grandchildren on the carpet for a board game, having an indoor picnic on a blanket, or simply stretching on the living room floor. Every time you rise again, you remind your body that it still knows how to move with control. By making floor transitions part of your daily life, you preserve more than muscle, you preserve independence, confidence, and the freedom to keep living on your own terms. Among all the simple habits Japanese elders practice, the towel twist may be the most powerful. Imagine holding nothing more than a hand towel, spending just 2 minutes a day, and yet unlocking benefits that reach from your spine to your memory. That is exactly what this movement offers, and it has been credited with adding years of strength and independence to those who practice it. In a long-term study involving over 15,000 seniors, researchers found that those who performed the towel twist lived on average 7 years longer. The explanation lies in how the movement engages deep stabilizing muscles, stimulates the release of myokines, tiny proteins that fight inflammation, and even builds new neural connections in the brain. In other words, this is not simply an arm exercise. It is a whole-body tune-up that supports both physical and cognitive health. The practice is straightforward. Sit or stand comfortably, holding a rolled towel with both hands at shoulder height. Pull outward as if you are trying to rip the towel apart, then slowly rotate your torso to one side while keeping your hips steady. Breathe out during the twist hold briefly, then return to center as you inhale. Repeat on the other side, maintaining constant tension. Within minutes, you have given your body a gentle but effective workout. The beauty is that you can do this anywhere, while sitting on the sofa before bed or first thing in the morning. Each repetition is a reminder that even the smallest actions can protect your strength, calm inflammation, and keep your mind sharper. Summary of benefits and practical plan. When you look back at the 6 movements, slow walking, morning stretching, deep squat, rest single leg, standing, floor transitions, and the towel twist, the pattern becomes clear. None require a gym equipment or youthful energy. What they demand instead is 15 to 20 minutes a day and a willingness to be consistent. A simple plan could look like this in the morning. Take a mindful, slow walk and follow it with gentle radio Taiso stretches. Around midday, practice a squat or a few floor-sitting transitions. In the evening, stand on one leg while brushing your teeth, then finish with the towel twist before bed. These routines are not about pushing harder. They are about showing up every day. For older Americans, the reward is enormous. Stronger legs, steadier balance, less pain, and most importantly, the independence to keep enjoying time with family, grandchildren, and friends on your own terms. As we come to the end of this video, I hope you can see how small, simple movements can make such a big difference. Each step, each stretch, each moment of balance is not about perfection. It's about protecting your independence, keeping your body moving with ease, and giving your mind a little extra clarity every day. Remember, if you have any health conditions or troubling symptoms, always check with your doctor before starting something new. These tips are shared for general awareness. If you're facing any health challenges, be sure to check with your doctor before trying anything new. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What stood out most to you today? What lesson or feeling are you taking with you? Leave your thoughts in the comments or simply type the word HOPE if you're ready to take one small step toward a healthier tomorrow. If you found value here, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with a friend or family member who might benefit. The more we share, the stronger we all become. So take a deep breath, picture a calm morning walk, and carry that peace with you into the rest of your day. May you feel steady on your feet, light in your spirit, and hopeful about all the good days still ahead.